Welcome to the third of our Asian Tour podcast. This week we look back at the Maybank Malaysian Open, look ahead to the inaugural Chiang Mai Classic, as well as seeing that Tiger Woods is back as world number one. I'm Richard Kaufman, delighted to say I'm joined by Asian Tour player Ian Still from Malaysia. It was a terrific week last week in Malaysia, Ian, and we've got another terrific event to look forward to in the coming week in Thailand.
Yeah, most definitely. Again, Maybank Malaysian Open was again shortened to 3 rounds, rather disappointing for the sponsors and the spectators wanting to see all 4 rounds complete. Not to do so. 3 rounds ending on Sunday with the top player Luke Donald missing the cut. That was a bit of a disappointment for all.
A bit of a surprise, especially I think that's the first time Luke Donald has missed a cut in a regular European Tour event, which just shows you how terrific he's been over the years, the world number 3. But without Luke Donald, of course, we had the presence of another top name player in Charles Schwartzel. And when you saw his name on the leaderboard there, you know, going into what proved to be the third and final round, you got the feeling that he was going to put a bit of heat on Kiradech Aphibarnrat. But in the end, the young Thai star, he pushed on and, well, he saw off everyone that tried to shoot him down.
That's right. Charles Schwartzel there, the top gun, along with Padraig Harrington, major winners in the field. But looks like Kiradech held his own against them. Schwartzel's putter just went cold. He missed a lot of fairways on average on the last round, and that put him behind the 8 ball. But well done to Kiradech. He held the major champions off, and a big win for him.
Yeah, terrific. When you look at how he finished last season, had a couple of 6th place finishes to see off the Asian Tour season. This season, 3rd in Myanmar. Then he won the international final qualifying in Thailand to book himself a spot at the Open Championship in Muirfield. And then 4th last week at the Avantha Masters as well. Then now a win. I mean, he's won close to, what, $600,000 already this season. He's now Asian Tour number 1. I mean, he's riding the crest of a wave at the moment, isn't he?
That's right, yeah. His game is on form early in the year. It's always a good thing. Having played very, very well in Avantha last week, another co-sanctioned event, making a lot of money there, and then winning this week, takes him to the top of the Asian Tour Order Merit, makes life harder for everybody else to try and chase him the rest of the year. We've got a few more big co-sanction events later on in the year, which I'm sure Kiradech will be playing, and I'm sure he will be putting every effort into finishing number 1 on the Asian Tour at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, it was a terrific win from Kiradech Aphibarnrat. Wire-to-wire victory, winning by 1 shot in the end from Eduardo Molinari. Let's hear what he had to say after that win.
It's meant a lot to me. This is my 2nd tour title, and I find my 2nd win in about 2 years. I'm struggling a lot. I got sickness about the thyroid. I practice a lot with my dad and my coach. I work everything to have today. I represent from Asia. I'll try to do well in Europe, so make all of us proud of Asia.
So naturally delighted there, Kiradech Aphibarnrat, to get that victory. He's 2nd on the Asian Tour, but of course a co-sanctioned event with the European Tour, which means he now automatically gets his European Tour card. It opens up so many doors for him, doesn't it? And do you think he's the kind of player who can grab the opportunities?
Well, let's hope so. Not only for Thailand, but for Asian Tour. He's got almost everywhere but the US to play in. He's got a card up in Japan. He can play Asia anytime he wants, and now, you know, the doors have opened in Europe, and hopefully he takes advantage of it. Hopefully he doesn't go trekking, you know, left and right across the world. And
yeah, that's the point. You can play too much. You look at someone like Ryo Ishikawa, and there's been questions about him playing too many times because he wants to please everyone in Japan, and yet, of course, he wants to play in America. And it's terrific to have these opportunities, but you've got to be clever, haven't you, about how you manage it. And particularly when you think he's got this thyroid issue that has meant it makes him very tired. He's talking about the possibility he might have to have an operation in 6 months if it isn't cured. He's got to be smart as well as trying to make the most of what he's got.
Yes, over the past, I know he's played a lot in Japan, and he's tried to fill his schedule up with events in Asia. Now he's got to do it on 3 tours. For a young guy, which he is young, he's not the fittest guy around. He's got this thyroid issue, as you say. So he's got to manage his schedule very well, and that hopefully, his team, his managers can guide him around the world and play the big events that will take him onto the next stage, as it were.
And of course, he also has someone like Thongchai Jaidi around who'll be playing as well on the European Tour. Of course, a winner last year on the European Tour too at the World's Open. It's going to be important for him to lean on the knowledge that Thongchai already has.
Yes, Thongchai's got the experience of traveling back and forth around the world. Thongchai at his prime has played in America, has played in Japan, Asia, and Europe. Now he concentrates his efforts in Europe, and Kiradech can rely on his knowledge, his experience, and as well as Prom. Prom has got his European Tour card by virtue of high finishes last year, and so he's got somebody his own age, closer to his own age, to travel with. But obviously everybody looks at Thongchai, who's had all the experience of doing this for almost a decade now. So I think Kiradech is in good hands, and he just has to open up, ask questions, and listen to his elder statesman.
As far as the Asian Tour is concerned, I suppose you could look back on the last couple of weeks. Of course, a co-sanction event in India at the Avantha Masters a week earlier, and say it's been pretty good. The win for Kiradech, and of course the week before you looked at the top of the leaderboard and you had 3 regular Asian Tour players in the top 5. Baek, Kiradech, of course, again, and Gaganjeet Bhullar.
That's right. Yeah, Gaganjeet played very well last week and finished second, made over $260,000. And climbed to the top of the Order of Merit. And now, especially with Kiradech finishing 4th, making over $100,000 there as well. Now both of them spearhead the Order of Merit on the Asian Tour side. So with Kiradech winning the Malaysian Open this week, it takes him past Gaganjeet, who missed the cut. So there is a big difference now at the top of the Order of Merit. I think about $400,000, I think it was. So he's got some breathing space from the chasers, but let's hope we'll see a lot more of him on the Asian Tour.
Well, there's a lot more events to be played as well, a lot more dollars starting this week. A $750,000 event, an inaugural event, the Chiang Mai Classic in this 10th season of Asian Tour Golf. It's terrific to see a new event come along. Of course, many events in Thailand on the Asian Tour, but a lot of them around the Bangkok area. This time the Asian Tour's off to northern Thailand, and great to see some major champions there like Wai Yang, Michael Campbell, and Ernie Els there as well.
Yes, Chiang Mai, a new venue for the Asian Tour, about an hour's hop from Bangkok. I don't know much about it, the golf course. I think it held the Johnny Walker Championships there about almost a decade ago, I believe, and it's a new venue for most of the boys on the Asian Tour, and it's going to be interesting. We've got some major champions in there, we've got some superstars in there that'll spice up the field and bring in a lot of world ranking points.
Well, yeah, just under 7,500 yards past 72, the Alpine Golf Resort. It's just east of the main town of Chiang Mai. It's in a lovely position in a valley between the mountain ranges and the forest. It's going to be a lovely setting. The course apparently in terrific condition as well, and so many good players on view again. And with the Asian Tour players we've mentioned, full of confidence from their couple of weeks in these co-sanctioned events. And for one man in particular, we mentioned him already, Thongchai Jaidi. That top 50 in the world rankings, he hasn't been able to push himself into it the last couple of weeks. Last chance saloon, isn't it now, with the Masters cutoff coming up?
Yes, he's just inside the top 60 on the official world rankings, and he's looking to have a very, very strong finish. And I believe he's got to win next week in his hometown, his home country, to have any chance of getting into the Masters. So he's got to put on a very, very, very good showing against some of the top major winners over the last decade.
Of course, there will be one Thai player at Augusta, of course, Tawon Wirachat, who got his invite earlier in the year. So we're hoping that Thongchai can maybe make it too. When you have a new event like this, it's kind of a level playing field. You look at Ernie Els, he's been suffering, I think, from a bit of a bad back. Missed the cut last week in America. Withdrew from the event the week before, so maybe doesn't come in with the best of form. Michael Campbell played last week in the event in Malaysia, and of course Wai Yang, I think, had the week off last week. He'll be looking to make his mark after what's been a disappointing, I suppose, last 12 months for him. But it's not all about those players, isn't it? There's so much talent around now on the Asian Tour. There's so much depth to the tour. We've mentioned all these players' names. It wouldn't be a surprise to see someone who we haven't mentioned come out on top.
Absolutely. He's this event is a full field Asian Tour event, and as you said, $750,000, and it's a chance for a newbie, somebody from Q School even, to come in and make a mark. And you know, it's somebody who you haven't seen before or haven't heard of before can make a mark and move up the order of merit. It's an opportunity for those boys to tee it up against the guys in the top 60 who have played the last 2 weeks, and you know, put a stamp on their year where if they finish well, it sets up the rest of the year where they can pretty much free it up and concentrate on winning rather than just thinking about the order of merit and finishing in the top 60.
Now, of course, one of the big stories of the week, aside from the events we've been having in Asia, was the events on the PGA Tour, an event that had to go through to the Monday because of bad weather on Sunday in Florida. But Tiger Woods winning again, winning the Arnold Palmer Invitational, a tournament that seems to belong to him. I think that's the 8th time he's won it. But the significance of it was he's gone back to being world #1 again. Now, when he slipped out of the top 50 of the world a year or so ago, some wondered whether we see Tiger Woods back challenging winning tournaments again. Well, not only is he winning tournaments again, he's the man to beat at the top of the rankings.
That's right. He's back to #1, as you said, and it's only because I think Rory McIlroy hasn't had a good start of the year. If Rory McIlroy started the year like he finished last year, I think the #1 position would be still Rory's. But saying that, Rory's had a miserable start. Tiger's had 4 starts and won 3 of them. So that's in anybody's book. I think he'll be the best player this year so far.
I mean, you just said he's won 3 and 4, and it was almost matter of fact here. And I mean, that's 77 PGA Tour titles now. Now, you're a professional golfer. You know how hard it is to win one event, and there's so many golfers out there that, you know, 2, 3, 4 victories, 5 in a career is fantastic. To win that many times, to have the strike rate he has, I mean, he's getting close to now 100 wins worldwide. I mean, how can you put that into words from a professional standpoint?
It's just, you know, no words can describe it. His win rate is, you know, just over 25%. Wins 1 in every 4 events he enters. He's won, you know, over 100 worldwide, 77, as you said, in America. It's amazing how we can see that type of player come through in this day and age. But we've been saying it for almost 20 years now. We saw him come up and dominate the amateur scene, and you know, a few mediocre years for him. Not for anyone else, put him, you know, outside the top 50 in the world rankings. But now I think he's settled into his new swing and his new coach and his new life. I think he's the third coming of Tiger Woods.
And of course, now looking for major number 15 in a few weeks at Augusta National for the US Masters. Of course, Rory McIlroy will have the chance this week to get the #1 spot back if he can win at the Houston Open. But Tiger Woods is certainly back in amongst the winners' circle. It's been a terrific week of golf, particularly for Kirit Aphibarnrat. So much more to look forward to with the inaugural Chiang Mai Classic to come from Thailand. But from Ian Still and myself, Richard Kaufman, it's goodbye for now.